and then some was just set in front of us this morning. And I appreciate our staff providing us the additional information. A little disappointed that the agencies didn't provide it to us earlier, but be that as it may, we move forward. We're going to start with recommendations on the agency budget for the Office of Administrative Hearings. Committee, do you have recommendations as to where we could find some efficiencies, or what are your thoughts for the agency budget? I will enlighten the committee that I did not have anything. I had several questions yesterday. I appreciated the fact that there was a willingness to answer the questions, and I also appreciate that was provided with us yesterday in the testimony, sort of, if you will, a response to questions that were not asked, that are frequently asked questions. So, Senator Petty.
So, Mr. Chairman, I was noticing as I was looking back over the Office of Administrative Hearings and in the 2027 analysis, the agency's requesting an increase of $7,522 from their Administrative Hearing Office fund. To me, that seems very reasonable, particularly since they are giving back. They're decreasing their personnel changes by $89,000, over $89,000. So I would recommend that we consider that.
That the committee add the requested increase of $7,500 for computer and database upgrades. Is that correct? And you're on page 7, right? Okay.
Well, the computer, does that 7,000 cover the amount? Is that 30,000 for the computer upgrades? Is that? I'm sorry if I'm misspoke.
Not understanding.
It's
what
just
it says includes an 7,500 includes an increase of 30,000. So, Ms. Pratt, did you understand the question?
I'm sorry, would you mind repeating the question, Mr. Chairman?
Senator Pitt, what we were asking about was on page 7, under all other adjustments, there's a request for an increase of 7,500. And then there is it our understanding or correct understanding that there is an additional request for 30,515?
So, Mr. Chairman, the overall request from the agency is decreasing by approximately $82,000 from the approved amount in fiscal year 2026. Item 2 for all other adjustments offsets the decrease you see in item 1. And just to allow for more analysis on the all other adjustments, I included a few other projects that the agency is doing. All in all, those 3 items under item 2, all other adjustments, total an increase of $7,500.
And so what we have presented is that I'm not even sure what word, the Legislative Budget Committee, well, that's not the right word, but
Special.
the special committee that met during the interim. Is this their recommendation?
Yes, the Special Budget Committee approved the request for the Office of Administrative Hearings without changes.
As we have it here.
Yes, as it is presented to the committee.
I'm understanding, Senator Petty, that would already be.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Additional questions, comments, thoughts on our recommendation for Office of Administrative Hearing? I'm not hearing anything, so apparently the committee is of the opinion, and tell me if not, but the committee recommendation will be to, and you can tell me the proper wording, but to adopt the budget that We'll eventually get the wording right, but the interim committee recommended.
I believe so. If this committee is choosing to adopt the Senate or the Special Budget Committee's recommendation, I'm not a reviser, but I think the language would be something to the effect of adopt the Special Budget Committee's recommendation for insert agency for insert years as recommended by the SBC, I think is how.
We'll let you and Mr. Deere and everyone get the wording, but basically
Yes.
what we're saying is, we're saying we agree with what was presented to us.
Okay, perfect.
All right,
Thank you.
committee, we'll move now to the Judicial Council. And the Judicial Council, you should have received an email last evening. Mine is time-stamped of 6:06 PM with some answers to the questions that we had asked yesterday. Hopefully you had a chance to see those and review the answers. The chair had also questioned the need for the Judicial Council. I don't yet have an answer as if the Judicial Council needs to continue. I'm not going to make any motion or recommendation during this committee hearing to eliminate the Judicial Council. It's just a government entity that I knew existed, but I knew nothing about them. And you can see they were created in 1927 when the legislature was probably full of individuals, farmers, and ag producers that didn't understand the judicial. And so we'll figure out another day. But unless the committee members want to make a recommendation that we make a note that there was a question about the need of the continuing the Judicial Council, but leaving their funding in place. It's up to the committee. Thoughts, committee? Senator Petty?
I'm a little lost here. So are we having a discussion about doing away with the Judiciary Council, or are we discussing their budget? I mean, I think that when it comes to the Judiciary Council, I would not be, I would not want to entertain that thought about doing away with it without a lot of input. I did serve on Judiciary for a few years, and the Judiciary Council did provide information to the judiciary on items that they were asked to research and to delve into, to bring back recommendations for legislation. And I saw that during my time, so I certainly would not want to make that kind of move during a budget hearing.
I simply brought that up because of the fact that yesterday it was mentioned. I was just asking if the committee wanted to note that in our committee recommendation. If we don't want to, that's not a problem. The chair still might, when reporting to the full Ways and Means, say that he had questioned the need for the continuation of the Judicial Council. Depends on what he learns between now and when the budget is presented. But I was just asking if the committee wants to make any note to that effect. If they do not, that's not a problem. There was a thought, I made a note that we might remove on page 9 under all other adjustments. It seems like there was something said, regarding hospitality spending and authority yesterday. On page 8, under hospitality and spending and authority, about what was it? Can you remind us, Ms. Pratt, what was mentioned? It seems like there was a thought that they've not really had it. Well, I'll let you speak.
Good afternoon, Chairman Pack and members of the committee. So item 2 on page 8 discusses the hospitality spending authority request from the agency. As of right now, so in previous years, the agency has not been authorized to spend funds on hospitality items for the council members. The State Budget Committee, or Special Budget Committee adopted the agency's request without changes. So currently, the Special Budget Committee bill, as introduced, includes language authorizing the Judicial Council to spend up to $5,000 on hospitality. If this committee does not want to recommend that, it would need to be stated in the motions to not concur with that item.
All right, thank you. Questions, committee, on that topic of Ms. Pratt before she steps up? Senator Clamp?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was curious how they paid for those historically, and did those expenses happen historically?
My understanding is that the agency has not spent money on items for food or beverages for the committee members historically. I believe the members bring their own lunches normally, if it goes past midday.
And that was my understanding as well, so I had made it just a note, might remove, and so I thought that I would bring it up in our discussion as a part of our recommendation, whether we should or not, and I'm going to go ahead and make that a part of our recommendation. Of course, that's just me suggesting, but I want to hear from you. So what we would do would be to remove the $5,000, the authority to expend up to $5,000 for hospitality, is the way I will say it. But again, I'm looking on page 8, number 2, committee. Senator Petty.
I'm sorry, maybe I'm a little, moving a little too fast here. Are you making a motion?
I don't plan to use through motions. It would be a recommendation without objection. If there's objection, then we would vote. We might need a motion, but to begin with, it's just a recommendation.
Okay.
So it's very similar to a motion.
Thank you. I do object. I think that it's a minimal amount of money, and these, as was shared with us yesterday, these members are coming from across the state. They were in a period of time where they were having more online meetings, and now they're having more in-person meetings. And the other thing I thought was interesting, the fact is that many times they are deferring from taking their compensation, which that's actually saving the state a lot of money, and yet we wouldn't want to provide them with a Coke while they're here for a day or half a day or whatever it is. So I think that the $5,000 is a minimal amount of money, and it's already included, and I do not agree with removing it from this recommendation.
So there is objection, but Senator Clamp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Do we know what that deferral is, how many defer, and what that looks like?
You're referencing the number of individuals that do not accept their subsistence pay. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Do you have that information, Ms. Pratt?
Mr. Chairman, would it be all right if I talk to the executive director really quickly? Mr. Chairman, the executive director has stated that approximately 90% of the council members choose to not take their subsistence payments.
Is there a difference between subsistence or is there a salary associated?
Yes, my understanding is that the members might, some of the members might, or most members do not defer the actual expenses for like mileage, and should they have to stay in a hotel, they do not defer that. However, 90% of the members do defer the subsistence payments.
They also receive a salary in addition, correct?
If they choose to accept it, yes.
You can go ask her. get clarification.
Mr. Chairman, the subsistence payment is the salary payment. Yes.
Senator Klemp?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In light of that, I do think that providing substance when they're here is important, so I appreciate that.
As far as the Judicial Council waiving their subsistence, is this something that's been going on for years, or is that sort of relatively new to the current members? Do you know?
Mr. Chairman, this is the second year I have analyzed this agency's budget. My understanding is that it has been a routine practice for members to not accept the subsistence payments.
There was a recommendation that we would remove the authority to expend the $5,000 hospitality. There was objection to the recommendation, so we'll vote. Those in favor of the recommendation, aye. Yes, sir. Senator Billinger, I apologize. Might turn your mic on, please, so you're.
Mr. Chairman, my understanding is that, so in the bill has the operations account. Right now for fiscal year 2027, it would state operations 747485, provided that the agency has the authority to spend up to $5,000 from that account on official hospitality. Does that help answer the question?
Okay, additional questions before we have a vote? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed, no? Okay, the recommendation is not part of the committee recommendation. It will remain in. What's your thoughts, committee, on the agency budget? Hearing none, apparently we agree with the budget as presented by the Legislative Special Committee or whatever it is called. So basically that means there would be no changes to the Judicial Council budget. So we'll accept it or adopt it as presented. Okay. So now we're moving on to the Human Rights Commission Committee. And the Human Rights Commission has done a great job financially, so I'm certainly not going to make any recommendations to change their budget, but I'm willing to hear from the remainder of the committee if you have thoughts on the Human Rights Commission budget. I'm not hearing anyone jump in excitedly with information requests or suggestions, so the chair would recommend that we accept the budget as presented. Are there thoughts, objections to that recommendation? Senator Klemp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, I would support that move as well.
Do you want to make any notes in the committee report that you really appreciate their work or anything, or you don't want to go that far?
I would go that far. It was refreshing to see a budget that went south versus north.
So, Mr. Adams, you might make a note that the subcommittee made that comment, and you can make Senator Klemp and myself really sound intelligent in what you write. All right, committee, I appreciate you being here this afternoon. That wraps up this. We do have two more agencies that we will look at, but we'll get back to those on another day. Thank you. We are adjourned.